Hello and welcome to Eastern Horizon. This is Malika Yubsumbul, and we are making a special program on this Africa and the Sahel region after the conflict that emerged in Mali and the killing of the defense minister. So I have joined a very high-profile panel from different African countries that is neighboring with Mali. So first of all, from Mali, I have joined Fatima Ibrahim. She's a journalist and founder of the Melanin Flip from Mali. She has joined me, and from Nigeria I have joined by Dr. Hashim uh, Salaudeen. He has a Ph.D. and counterterrorism consultant and program director of CLEEN Foundation. He will join us and we will definitely talk with him about the escalating situation and the rise of the militancy into the Sahel and African region. From Nigeria also I have joined Edison Temfu. He is a journalist and African affair expert. From Burkina Faso, I have joined SOMEH Osagan. He is also a Pan-African analyst. So let me go directly to let me go directly to the Fatima, who is right now in Mali. So Fatima, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you so much, Mali. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so what is the situation right now in Mali? Because you are there, so how you report and how you explain the current situation?
So the situation right now is a bit tense. Actually, feel the tension in the air. Going by what happened on April 26th. I had a drive through the Kati axis after the incident to kind of observe the aftermath, and I noticed that everywhere was a bit was tense and calm at the same time, with fewer persons on the road. Even the construction work that was initially ongoing, was abruptly stopped, and there were shops that were closed, so we couldn't find, normal local shop owners. Nobody came out on that day. And I also noticed that the road leading to the main city was cut off, so they had to create a makeshift access for motorists to be able to fly. So generally, right now, as we speak, the atmosphere is a bit tense, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the air because we don't know exactly, what is going on. I also spoke to someone, a local resident at Kati, and although he told me that the situation is calmer, which is a good thing, the situation is calmer now, and everybody's just trying to get back to their normal activity. But then you would know that something happened. People are just trying to pick up the pieces and move on with their life. Yeah.
So let me go to Dr. Salaudeen, Hashim Salaudeen. Dr. Hashim, thank you very much for joining.
Thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure. So let me know. I have a direct question to you. You are counterterrorism expert. So how you see the rise of this Jama'at Nusrat Islam al-Mu'minin, mean JNIM? How you think that this sudden rise, or how they formed and become a major threat into the Sahel region and especially for Mali?
Yeah, I mean, it is very important to establish that the Sahel has a fundamental crisis. And that is because for a very long time, we have abandoned every governance, presence, and infrastructure in that region. And it has become a safe haven for various terrorist organizations. Currently, within the Sahel, there are quite a lot of groups that are operating there. You have the Tuaregs, you have the Al-Qaeda, you have ISIS, you have Al-Shabaab, you have all of these groups who are also operating. So it has become a forte for terrorist groups to converge and, of course, use them as a place to launch various operations. And most importantly is the fact that ECOWAS in itself has also lost its own capability to be able to coordinate effort in terms of providing response and mitigation kind of planning within the Sahel. And because over the years there had been a lot of early warning that suggests that that particular region require some level of response and intervention. But of course, it was failed in that particular space. And then, of course, again, what has made it very difficult for Mali was how it has reduced its own interaction with perhaps the Western allies, France, and again, the West African neighbors, isolating itself from ECOWAS, formation of the AES, even though you have a declining democratic structures internally. After the coup d'etat, there had been some sort of promissory note by the junta to return to democratic rule. That didn't happen. So there has been some level of resentment by some of these groups who also felt that they needed to find some sort of entry point. But again, there are a number of conspiracy theories about the alliance that Mali had broken away from, how these former allies, are also helping to push the fall of the regime, using some of these groups in this particular space to be able to make some of these entrants. So that in itself yet is another conspiracy theory that we also are looking at. The second one is the new alliance with Russia, and then of course the presence of this military group country, how Russia is also creating an orbit to be able to also prick into that particular country. That also offers another theory as to whether or not it's an opportunity to keep a tab on some of the resource reasons within the space. But by and large, I think Mali generally has also failed drastically around governance. It has failed in its inability to be able to sustain its relationship with its allies, particularly in West Africa, isolating itself, and that in itself fundamentally has created a new layer of challenges because, again, they know too well that help will not likely come from either ECOMOG or from the ECOWAS country where alliances are built, and help will be very far. So knowing that cavalry will not be coming anywhere soon, these groups are further emboldened and empowered to be able to carry out some of these onslaughts. But most importantly, governance is at the center of this entire conversation.
So they are actually this Jama'at Nusrat Islam al-Muslimin. They inspired and by this Salafi doctrine. So how you think that they could be lethal to other neighboring countries, because we saw that they are emerged even into the northern part of Benin. So the other countries, do you think that they will really gonna be spread into the other neighboring countries?
Already it is happening. Currently in Nigeria, we have those sects operating in the northern part, and that, of course, particularly states that share border with the Sahel. We're already seeing it in Kebbi, we are seeing it in Sokoto, and so they're already having that spread. We also know that in Niger and Burkina Faso, that this is already also happening. So this in itself is actually a risk factor that requires some additional layer of additional intelligence to be able to either analyze and check what are those risk elements that will also continue to threaten the security fabric across the country. But they are already happening, and it is creating a very far-reaching and huge setback across our security architecture.
So do you think that this Jama'at Nusrat Islam al-Muslimin, it was formed in 2017, and initially it was actually, they say that there were 4 groups actually who joined. So do you think that because yesterday we heard that they have disassociated from the Al-Qaeda, and do you think that that these 4 groups, and what could be the more at risk in terms of its their influence, especially to the region?
The influence is actually very huge and real, and of course, because they are also been getting heavy weapons and ammo from different parts of the world, particularly from countries of origin, without prejudice. Some proxies of Al-Shabaab, and of course, even from Cyprus, from Iran, Hezbollah, and all of those groups. So there are quite a lot of nexus established between the Nigerian groups and the West African groups and some of these international groups in terms of logistics, finance, and all of those likes. And the most interesting situation that also requires additional level of interface would border around how we have not been able to coordinate generally across the region to be able to collectively find tailor-made solutions into all of these crises. But again, I think what hasn't also happened, most importantly, bordered around the inability of responding to the vulnerability of young people to also be recruited into some of these groups. Recruitment is happening on a regular and periodic and daily basis, and this recruitment is also affecting the fabric of how all of these groups are also functioning. So they are expanding, they are becoming very influential, they have the resources and the logistic network, and they are also expanding their economic base. Most of them are using various layers, kidnapping, to be able to raise a lot of resources. In Nigeria currently, kidnapping by some of these groups is actually the biggest sources of income for them to be able to engage. But again, they are also expanding their political outreach and influence because where they are able to negotiate political powers, they have been very stable. Where they have unable to do so, they begin to push various layers of narrative to be able to ensure that they get all of this sort of political influence, even within countries and the West Africa generally.
Mm-hmm. So Fatima, Ibrahim, let me come to you. So how you think that the life right now in Mali? So the things are coming back to normalcy, or still there is, I mean that the disturbance and the things has to come on normal.
No, everything is starting to die down gradually. Forgive my adjective. Like things are gradually returning back to normal. People are trying to get back to their day-to-day activity. No more gunshots being heard. Like I said, I spoke to a resident in Kati who mentioned that right now the situation has there are no longer gunshots or bombings heard. So everybody is just trying as much as they can to get back to their normal lives.
Mm-hmm. So let me talk to the another panelist, Mr. SOMEH Osagyefo. So he is a Pan-African analyst from Burkina Faso. Can you hear me, SOMEH?
Hello, hi.
Yes. So how you see this sudden rise of Jama'at Nusrat Islam al-Mu'minin, and do you think
Okay.
that this could escalate into the other neighboring countries?
Yes, it is. In fact, when you see today the militancy of terrorism in our region today, the situation we are facing so clearly that if we are not taking care, all the surrounding countries of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, they are going to face this militancy if measures are not taken. So today, all the region, all the Sahel region is vulnerable to this militancy. So when you see the way in which the militancy is going, it means clearly that they want to take over all the region and do what they want. But unfortunately for them, you see that today the leaders of the three countries are making effort establish the chief and to establish security. As far as the three leaders are concerned, they show that clearly the priority is the fight against insecurity. So there are taking action and there are taking some measures like the reorganization of the army, the reorganization of the defense, etc. and so far to shape the situation. And then there are also reinforcing the partnership with the other countries. So today, you can say that the militancy is a fact that we have to address by all means.
So, how much influential this Jama'at Nusrat al-Muslimin is into Burkina Faso? How much influence they have?
So in Burkina Faso and Mali and Niger, we are facing the same problem. What is happening in Mali is also happening in Burkina Faso. It is also happening in Niger. So today, we can normally say that before, as far as the Burkina Faso is concerned, before the arrival of President Ibrahim in the power, the militancy have, we can say that they have already took over the country. But when the leader Ibrahim took over the power in September 2022, he has reorganized the army, he has reorganized the forces to face terrorists. So when you see today, normally in Burkina Faso, there have no more possibility for them to come and attack our position and go back. The president has already said that. Today, they can come to us. They cannot return peacefully. So if they attack the position of the army, they will take the answer of the army. So today, many people are making to face this situation. Unfortunately, when we see the narrative of the Western media, they try to show us that nothing is taken as decision. But we in this country, we are seeing the effort, we are seeing what the daily effort that our leaders are making to restore peace, to restore security, to restore peace in our different countries. So today we can simply say that if they continue in this way, if they continue like they are doing right now, in the future time, we are going to overcome this terrorists and move on to the other way of our development. But one fact is that we must clearly say it. We all know that today terrorism or militancy is a big enterprise. It is a business that the other countries are using they want to enslave us again. It's like a new colonization. So our resources, national resources, they want to take over our.
I understand. I understand your point. Yes. So my another question is this: that Burkina Faso has border with Benin. So and now there are news that in the northern Benin there is the activities of Jama'at Nusrat al-Muslimin has started. So do you think that this Jama'at Nusrat Islam al-Muslimin, it could spread into the other neighboring countries?
Yes, if the other countries are not coming together with Burkina Faso, with Mali and Niger, because today all like I already said, all the Western Africa countries are infected. Even if you take Ivory Coast, there are no safe. If you say Senegal, there are no safe. If you say Ghana, there are no safe. If you say Benin, all of them are not safe today. The people are living with daily worry. They are worrying. What can be the people are saying to them, are asking themselves that what will be our future of tomorrow if this comes to happen. So we must simply come together and support the leaders that are already making efforts to come over this settlement. So when you see the Burkina Faso today is very open for cooperation. We are open for cooperation, but we are not. The leader Ibrahim said that if you want to come and cooperate with us, you can come, but don't come to dictate us, to say what is good for us, what is your will. So today, our leaders have decided that the sovereignty, the freedom, and the security, and then the independence, the real independence of our countries are not negotiable. So if you want to conclude.
So Dr. Salaudeen, so how you see that this group, do you think that they have some local support and some local tribes, communities that support them, and how their attitudes towards the local communities and people?
Yeah, I mean, terrorism is universal, and irrespective of how community treat them, the communities are the first layer of threats that they receive their threat in any way. But generally, I think there has been communities that have also shown some level of either support or sympathy for some of these groups because again they use them as transit, they use them as melting point, they use them once there is a military onslaught, they use them to also take cover. So yes, communities play a very significant role, but again it does not immune or inoculate the communities from the threats that also come from some of these groups. Because sometimes they have to attack these communities for food. Sometimes they attack them to take their women. Sometimes they attack them to take their young people to join them forcefully. They take them for medical care. They take them a lot of the time for a variety of reasons. Sometimes for fuel, their motorbikes, their donkeys, and all of that. So yes, community may be very useful to them, but again, they also don't run away from also unleashing the threats to them. And again, it is very important to also indicate that these groups, these terrorist groups, exploit local grievances as a way of also getting these people to join them. And we have seen this play out very strongly in all of these countries where terrorist and banditry activities have increased very lately. But again, there is also the very big component which deals with how community also provide them with some level of cover. And this is actually a failure of the state in itself. Failure of the state in the sense that communities have not been indicated as the most strategic human intelligence component of the security architecture, of the wider security architecture, because security stakeholders oftentimes will rely on communities for early warning to be able to respond. But sometimes in security decision making, communities are oftentimes ostracized and not allowed to be part of it, and they don't even feature in their general security briefing and decision. So that also provides the community with the only option of falling back to take refuge with these terrorist organizations. So that is one of the fundamental elements that we have seen. So most of the community that share affinity and proximity with these groups, particularly in their hiding places, oftentimes provide them with all the logistic cover, and that in itself is playing out across all the locations that we have seen.
So how about their use as a proxy into the region? Because mostly the terrorist groups they have been used as a proxy by different regional players. So how you see in terms of this Jama'at Nusrat al-Islam al-Muslimin, that do you think that it is being used as a proxy by someone?
It is being used as a proxy. That is apparently not negotiable, and this is coming from some part of the West where alliance have been severed, and it is also coming from the terrorist organizations global base in the Middle East to continue to expand some of the jihadism that is going on in some of the regions. So yes, that is fact. But one of the biggest conspiracy that we are also seeing might be as a result of the severance of the country, and then of course the realignment that has happened, and then of course a number of individuals and of course political commentators have also pointed in the way of France to say, okay, maybe France is now arming some of these groups as a way of also responding to the realignment that has happened in some of these countries. So these are conspiracy theories that also require some additional deep dive into how they operate. But yes, these groups are proxies. They don't operate on their own. They are being funded, they have been equipped, and they have been given all the logistic support to be able to carry out some of these operations.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hashim Salaudeen, who was joining me from Nigeria. Fatima, she joined me from Mali. Dr. SOMEH Osagyefo, he is a Pan-African analyst. He joined from the Burkina Faso. Thank you very much for your insight. I really appreciate.
Thank you very much, Malik, for having me.
Thank you very much, Malik.
Thank you. Thank you so much.